More and more businesses don't serve one type of customers, but two or even more. Like Airbnb, that connects owners of private accommodation with people who want to rent such accommodation. Or Uber, that serves and connects taxi drivers and travelers. In those cases, you need a multi-sided business model, where the sides refer to the different kinds of customers. We're seeing more and more of these multi-sided business models, whether it's in the sharing economy or in digital business. Could you improve your business performance by becoming multi-sided too? In this video, you'll learn how to design a multi-sided business model. We'll deal with how those multi-sided business models create value for different user groups, and how to move from a single to a multi-sided business model. And we'll deal with pricing too. How do multi-sided business models create value for user groups? Let's look at PlayStation. PlayStation connects gamers and makers of video games. The more gamers have a PlayStation, the more interesting it becomes for developers to make some games. And of course, the more games are made, the more attractive it is to buy a PlayStation. So in this case, the multi-sided business model creates so-called positive network effects between the user groups. The more users on one side, the more value is created for the users on the other side. This is called a matchmaking business model. By the way, this explains why there are only a few really successful game consoles. Now, the business logic of Google is quite different. It connects people searching for websites with advertisers. Now, for advertisers, the logic still holds. The more people searching on Google, the more value is created for advertisers. But for people searching, they don't care how many advertisers there are on Google. Perhaps they even want no advertisements at all. This is called an audience building business model. In this model, there are positive network effects one way, but negative ones the other way. Traditional commercial television provides a good example of this model too. Often a multi-sided business model includes some kind of platform on which user groups can build. For instance, in the case of PlayStation, the game console is a platform. Or in the case of Apple, this is the iPhone and its App Store. So one way to attract user groups is to open up part of the technology that others can then use. To stimulate others to use the technology, companies like Apple, they offer development kits that help others to build apps. However, of course, by opening up, Apple does lose control over what value their smartphone provides to their customers. Of course, there can be many more variations, and even ones with 3 or more groups of customers. But the core message is this: make clear how your different user groups create network effects to each other. And this will also help you to figure out the revenue model. There can be many different revenue models in multi-sided businesses. Let's look at PlayStation again. They receive revenues from both user groups. Customers pay to get a PlayStation console. Game developers pay to have a license for making video games. But something interesting is going on here. When you would calculate the costs of all the hardware inside the PlayStation console, those costs are higher than what the consumer pays for it. PlayStation does this on purpose, and they make up for the loss by charging a fee to the game developers. So we can say that PlayStation subsidizes the gamers on the expense of the developers. Sometimes the multi-sided business is even free for one user group. Let's look at Google. Search on Google is for free, and it's almost fully paid for by advertisers. So the advertisers subsidize the searchers, which makes sense because we saw that there was a negative network effect. A major challenge in any multi-sided business model is how to get it started. Why would anyone buy a PlayStation if there are no game developers on board? And why would developers make any games without gamers? You can follow different strategies here. For instance, subsidize the first group of users on the platform. Google did this by awarding a prize to the best of the first Android apps. Or you could develop value-adding applications yourself. It's possible to solve this chicken and egg problem, but it does require some thought. So, To summarize, when making a multi-sided business model, the first key step is to define what are your different customers or target groups, and whether the participation of one group creates some value for the other. Second, define the pricing model and consider whether you want to subsidize one group by the other. And finally, think about your introduction strategy. How can you ignite the multi-sided business model? So, can you adapt a multi-sided business model? Could you start charging your suppliers instead of paying them? Can you add value by bringing different user groups together? We challenge you to think about this in the assignment.